Hello there.
Welcome back, my friend.
Hello, what have we here?
Jedi, we've been expecting you.
Knew I could count on you.
Hello.
Welcome to the rebellion.
What fun!
What's up, everyone? Hybrid here with another Star Wars The Black Series review. This is a review I am super excited for. This is on a brand new Gaming Greats 2-pack, the Coruscant Guard skin, Phase 1 Assault Trooper, and Battle Droid Officer in the Training Deco. This set was initially leaked on Twitter, I believe it was, like 2 weeks before it got even officially put up, but I was just so excited at the notion of Phase 1 Coruscant Guards. We finally got a couple of Phase 1 501st in the Ahsoka series 2-packs in, was that end of 2024 that came out, Target exclusive set? And we're finally getting another Legion in Phase 1. I don't want the Phase 1 clones to take over the world of Black Series army building, but they do have a place in it, and it's nice that Hasbro is starting to acknowledge them. So this set is really, really cool. It features some nice skins from Battlefront 2, and I love that game. I still play it somewhat regularly with my guys today. So that said, let's go ahead, dive into this, and see if this is a set that you should be adding to your shelf. And here's our 2-pack. It is a very standard Black Series 2-pack, so a lot of things here we will have seen on other sets, but let's run through it anyway. You have a Star Wars Black Series logo above a giant window showing the figures and their numerous accessories off nicely. The Gaming Greats sticker always looks nice. Star Wars Battlefront 2 in that gaming line light blue they use. Phase 1 Assault Trooper, Coruscant Guard, and Battle Droid Officer Training. Warning 4+ Hasbro. And then this side features artwork of the two characters included, or the two types of troopers included, your wraparound window, Gaming Greats logo, wraparound blue stripe, and a Black Series logo around back. You get the decos for each character, the Battlefront 2 logo there, of course, Black Series logo, and then their names, and then a bio about the characters in 5 different languages. Pause and read whichever language best applies to you. Battlefront 2 and that blue stripe once more. A bunch of legal stuff and logos, and barcode and legal stuff and logos, and a little hanger tab up top for all those pegs on the shelves of the Amazon stores that don't exist. So, let's go ahead and get these guys out of the box and take a close look at everything going on in this awesome set. So here's the 2-pack open. Let's go ahead and start by just running through the accessories, and then we will split the figures into separate parts. So, as far as our clone trooper goes, he comes with some very important ones, and all the ones that you would want him to come with. So, he comes with is it the DC-15 long rifle? And it is in a dark gray, almost black plastic, and it looks very, very faithful to the source material, whether it be the Battlefront game, or the movies, or the Clone Wars. You know, this is a very recognizable blaster. However, in the game, the assault classes don't use this. This is set aside for the heavy classes. So, in the game, you'll never see the Coruscant Guard running around with this, but in, like, the Clone Wars, you would see them use it. So I like that they included it to make it a little bit more of a broad spectrum type of action figure. That's not a problem. And it's not a problem because they also give you the short version, which is this skin's blaster of choice in the game. It's also in that dark gray, almost black plastic. Looks very faithful to the game and other source material that it comes from. And so the fact that we get both guns, you know, even though one of them only matters, like, I'm okay with that. I like that. I'm happy with that. He also comes with a removable helmet, which looks really nice, although one thing that's throwing me, you know, it's not a skin I rock in Battlefront very often, so I don't know if it's totally accurate. They used red in the teeth area, you know, of the helmet, whereas normally that's gray on any Legion's clone helmet, and I just wonder if that's accurate to the game, or if Hasbro just didn't want to add another color of a paint hit. It kind of stands out to me a little bit, especially when you see it come down all the way here, but I could be totally incorrect on that. It has that kind of arrow above the visor and the red line going around 360 on the helmet. Looks very, very nice, and then it fits over the Tamura Morrison resembling head sculpt very, very nicely. We will take a look at that head sculpt when we get into the clone portion of the video, but as is, that's how he's going to be on the shelf, let's be fair. For our Battle Droid Training Officer, he comes with this back-mounted antenna. This is not a new accessory. This is also not a new mold. This Battle Droid has been in the line since 2018, I believe, and it's been repainted a number of times. This time it has been repainted into the training skin for the officer class in Battlefront 2, and it's very nice looking. I do like the color scheme. What I'm not digging is the inclusion of the Battle Droid blaster. Now, this is not an inaccurate weapon to the universe. You know, battle droids use these throughout the universe all the time, but the Battle Droid officer in Battlefront 2 does not use the Battle Droid. This blaster is inaccurate to any officer class, and while the clone giving me an inaccurate blaster didn't upset me because they also gave me the right one, they only give you the inaccurate blaster on the officer, and that is super frustrating. Something that I knew I was going to be getting into as soon as I saw the promo photos, and unfortunately these Gaming Greats figures just love to do this to me, where, man, not a penny was spent on sculpting, right? These are two molds that we have seen painted time and time again. Surely Hasbro can afford a minute cost of molding a blaster that they can use on other action figures going forward, but they just refuse to. And when these promo photos came out months ago, I knew I was going to have to do it. This is an RG 4D blaster pistol. It is what they carry in Battlefront 2, and I had to go on Etsy from Bounty Supply Co. and spend the $5 and get a resin-printed blaster and spray paint it black in my basement, and then give it a clear coat over top so the black paint doesn't transfer to the hands of the action figure. I shouldn't have had to do it. I shouldn't have to do it to make it right, and this is definitely the biggest nitpick of the entire set for me. If you're going to give me this officer skin, you need to give me the correct thing. Otherwise, paint any other type of B1 that uses that blaster if you're going to be this stingy, Hasbro. But, like, it's a pistol. We didn't have a mold for this, or, like, we didn't have the ability to make a mold for this? Come on. So, very frustrating stuff that I have to jump through that kind of hoop to be as accurate as I want to be for Battlefront 2, which is a game I love. Most people probably will be okay with the Battle Droid blaster, but here I am. I'm making my big complaint. Now, let's look at the figure. We'll do the Battle Droid first, because I feel we can get through it very quick. So we did get the all-white training Battle Droid, like just Assault class in that pack last year with the Urban Camo Republic Commando. And that's a cool set. And this is the officer in the training deco. So he has some yellow accents. The training droids are droids that have been reprogrammed by the Kaminoans and used on Kamino to train, the clone troopers as they are going through their training before they're sent off on their missions. And so it is a battle droid that's not supposed to be part of the Separatist forces. I don't quite know where in the Battlefront lore it happened. Maybe they, reprogrammed them back on the, Battle of Kamino or however. Really what it is just a fun skin. It's a reference to the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars, we only ever saw the Assault class, so just the all-white ones. So we never saw the yellow and the officers. This is purely a Battlefront 2 original. But still very cool. One of the things that I like about it is the placement of targets for the clones to try and hit, between the eyes, center of the chest, on the joints, and they're really trying to get these clones to be very precise. But it's a very nice skin. It's basically white plastic with some yellow paint added to it, and I like this a good deal. If you have a battle droid in the Black Series, you kind of know what you're getting here. The feet are a little bit little. You do tend to have an issue of getting them to stand. I got them standing, but yeah, prove me wrong. Why don't you, jerk? But it typically doesn't take a whole lot to knock a battle droid down on the shelf, so I found some third-party stands for mine over there, and even then, still sometimes they go. But it's a little bit of a dated mold. I don't know what Hasbro could truly do to upgrade it, to any significant degree, but if they had any ideas, I would trust them to upgrade this after all this time. But it has a lot of articulation. We'll run through it really quick. It has a ball at the top of the neck and a hinge at the bottom. So, you just with the hinge at the bottom, you can get insane range. Also, the bottom pulls out of the torso for reasons. But of course, the ball at the top allows some side to side for pivot and rotation. And you can get it to look pretty high, all on its own there. Of course, the ears on the back hinge, so be careful when you're posing it. Those can even come off, so just make sure you don't lose that part. The shoulders do a 360 rotation there, and then this kind of like ring around them. I always like to kind of have the gap down at the bottom. The shoulders can do a 360 rotation. There is a bicep swivel in there. On this arm, it's a little bit tight. That's a little bit abnormal. It's turning, it's not just like twisting the pin, but that's good. Single jointed elbows go a little past 90. They swivel at the base of the forearm and then at the wrist all the way around, and there's a hinge in and out on both hand. There is a mid-torso, it's a ball joint all the way up in there, but then these bars are on hinges, so you can twist it a little bit there, and you see they pivot with it to a degree. You can crunch that far forward, that far back, so, and a little bit of side to side in there. The legs can go that far out, not much at all. They are on a ball joint, shockingly. There's a tiny bit of pivot in there, but the range forward and back is basically 360. And then there's no thigh swivel. Single jointed knees can go all the way up because they do have the ability to even fold up into like a storage mode. And then the feet can point straight down, really far forward, and there's a rotation at the ankle and a forward-facing pin for rocker, letting you get them into some dynamic stances that the figure probably can't balance in, to be entirely honest, but you can try. Setting him aside, let's bring the Clone Trooper in. This is definitely the one that had me going, what? When they announced him. I know some people were mad that that wasn't like the Phantom Menace, like just the tan battle droid with the officer markings. That'd be a cool figure to get. This doesn't mean that's not coming, but like, you know, I think they just want to do a couple of these training skins since they've already done one in the line. And I'm kind of with it at this point. Just knock them out and move on to the next thing. So I think they're coming. But this clone, this Coruscant security, you know, your shock trooper, your phase 1 shock troopers, if you will, very, very cool. The phase 1 to phase 2 evolution on these guys is absolutely insane. Phase 1, he has all this like really regal line work going on, and then phase 2 is just like dashes all over the place. And it's like, really? Like, it's a pretty drastic difference from phase 1 to phase 2. I honestly think phase 1 I like a lot more. Makes me wish that we had a phase 1 Commander Fox to pair with this guy. I would like to think that might be coming here in the next couple of years. We've got some important anniversaries, next year being the 50th anniversary of not just A New Hope, but Star Wars the franchise. The year after being the 20th anniversary of the Clone Wars. That's where I think a phase 1 Fox could probably fit. But very, very cool figure. It's a very bright red. It's a little bit brighter red on camera, but in person it's a little bit more of like a rich but still bright red, whereas I think it's coming across a little too bright on camera. So trust me, it's a little bit more muted in hand. But very, very nice looking figure. I mean, even the reds go around to the back, you know, where they wrap around. So it's a very visually interesting figure. This is, of course, our 2023 Clone Trooper sculpt, where it basically took all of the good parts of the 2020 Stormtrooper and brought them over to the Clone Trooper mold. And in my opinion, this is the definitive 1/12th Clone Trooper at this point. So I really do like this guy a lot. It's something that we've seen in the line before, and, you know, not this deco, but just the figure has been repainted many a time. And I'm happy to get any repaints on this mold that Hasbro is willing to do. This is something that I would very much like to continue supporting from the line going forward. Pulling the helmet off, as we mentioned in the beginning, it is a removable. You do have that Tamura Morrison likeness head underneath. It's loose. It's not the best Tem likeness ever, but you don't look at it and go like, that's not a Clone Trooper. It does have a little bit more of that like Clone Wars type of haircut, where it's a little bit like a very flat chop up top. I don't dislike that. You know, I don't think it's like the closest to the movies necessarily, but I don't hate it. It's very recognizable as a Clone Trooper to me, and that's okay. The photo reel on the face, you know, you do kind of see it's got like the shading around the eyes and stuff. It's a very nice application, but end of the day, like any of my other Clone Trooper figures, you know, they're gonna wear their helmets on the shelf. That's just what you do. But very, very nice looking figure. Very nice set, ultimately. I like anything I can get from Battlefront 2, so it's nice getting 2 additions to that Battlefront 2 shelf, if you have a Battlefront 2 shelf. Otherwise, I think I'm going to split these guys up, you know, put one on a Separatist shelf, one on the Republic shelf. That's kind of how mine has fallen into the collection, but still, just a very nice set. To run through the articulation here, as if we haven't done it on the other 50 repaints of this that we've gotten so far, he has that double ball neck system, allowing him to look that far up, that far down, side to side, and get some pivot in there for attitude. His arms come up to a T-pose. There is a butterfly joint in there. The shoulder pads are on a ring on that pin, so they can travel with the arm all the way around. Bicep swivel. Single jointed elbows can go to 90 and swivel at the elbow, although it's actually easier to turn the bicep on this guy. And then 360 on the wrist with the left hinging in and out, and the right hinging up and down. There is a mid-torso ball joint kind of hidden underneath of this rubber torso overlay. It allows him to crunch that far forward, which is a little bit. That's nice. Back that much, also nice. Side-to-side rotation and pivot in there. He can do a pretty wide splits. You can kick that far forward if you rotate the thigh swivel just a little bit. You can go a tiny bit back. As mentioned, there is a thigh swivel. Not the biggest fan of this point of articulation on a lot of figures, but this hides it very well in that armor line, so I'm all for it here. The single jointed knees go past 90 and swivel at the knee. The knee pads are floating, so you can kind of like move them out of the way if they're going to like get pinched or anything, so just be aware as you articulate it. And then the feet can point pretty far down, pretty far forward, and there's a forward-facing pin for rocker, allowing you to put this guy in some decently wide stances with both feet flat on the ground. So here's this 2-pack with the other Amazon 2-pack that just dropped, and then that Amazon 2-pack from last year with the Republic Commando. Figured it'd be nice seeing the B1s together, just so you can see the Commander and the Grunt type. And of course, they are incredibly complementary with the Commando droid. It's just nice seeing over the last year all this Battlefront 2 love. It's just, these make for a very nice set. I'm guessing whatever we get next is probably going to involve more training droids and some random clone skins. I'm okay with that. I also wouldn't mind if they just kind of started slipping on the training droids and got more into the camo droids. I think those are the really cool ones, but that would be a lot more paint deco, and it seems like they're trying to do these on as low budget as they can. But this 2-pack does look really nice next to the other complementary 2-packs, and I'm overall rather satisfied. So at the end of the day, what do I think of this 2-pack? I think it's pretty solid. I should not be having to get custom guns to complete things that are inaccurate in a 2-pack. I think that Hasbro should be happy to make a mold for a gun that takes less plastic and therefore is less expensive to offer in the set than the big gun they've already got molded. It's always frustrated me on these Gaming Greats figures where, you know, you spend all this time and paint on this awesome deco on a Battle Droid mold that's 8 years old and has paid for itself a million times over, but absolutely not, you know, on a pistol. Like, really? The Geonosis camo heavy Battle Droid all the way back in the like first set of Gaming Greats and GameStop back in like 2019. I needed to get a custom blaster for him. What is it with these droid blasters, Hasbro? Come on, like, fix it, please. But other than that, and I've rambled on for way too long, I do like this set. I really, really love the Coruscant Security clone. I think he is absolutely the star of the set. The Battle Droid, I was never clamoring for a Battlefront 2 training deco B1. There are so many B1 skins in the game that are cooler. I don't think I've ever rocked the training deco anytime I play as the droids. I'm personally a fan of that jungle camo deco, which requires like a lot of paint, and I get why Hasbro's being cheap on it, because man, they can't afford to make a pistol. How can they afford all that paint? But I digress. This is a really cool set. If you're a fan of Battlefront 2, you know, even that pistol aside, I think you should pick this one up. I don't think it's going to get us a Battlefront 3. EA seems pretty adamant that that's just never, ever, ever going to happen, even though it's the most requested thing. But there's a lot of really cool skins for all the different classes in Battlefront 2 that Hasbro could very easily make into action figures that a lot of us would very happily put on our shelves. So I think it'd be nice if Hasbro got the hint that Battlefront 2 is still popular, at least amongst the collectors. So yeah, if you're in any way interested in the game and this set in any way interests you, pick it up. I know 2-packs always hit a sale later on, but show Hasbro, you know, put your money where your mouth is if you say you want this type of thing. I'm really happy that Hasbro is still happy to make these for us, and I will continue picking them up as long as they continue to offer them. So I'm going to go work on something else now. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble about toys for this long. May the Force be with you. I look forward to talking to you in the comments here, on the last video, on the next video, wherever we may talk, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.